channel and welcome to today's video. Today we are baking with Britt. You guys, I am so stoked about this video because I am baking my famous apple pie, okay? This is seriously the best apple pie recipe ever. Girl, I got you. We're about to be baking up in here. You're about to be the life of the party this fall with this apple pie recipe. Like, I got you. You are welcome. Let's just bake. So, first things first, let's just preheat the oven to 375. We want that bad boy hot and brewing and ready to go. So when the pie is ready and assembled, we can just pop it in. Now, every pie, you have the crust, you have the filling. We're just gonna start with the crust. And while that is then chilling in the fridge, we will move on to the filling. Okay, so this is everything you're gonna need for this crust. It is super simple, basic, and easy. And the technique that I'm gonna teach you when you're making it is gonna make it foolproof so you can have a nice, flaky, crispy, delicious crust. So, you're gonna need a big mixing bowl. You will need 2 cups of flour. You're gonna need some ice water, a teaspoon of salt, and then 2/3 cup of Crisco. And if you get vegetable shortening, I mean, this recipe is vegan, so I'm happy, you're happy, yay. Okay, so we're gonna start with adding 2 cups of flour into your mixing bowl. Next up, we're gonna add just 1 teaspoon of salt, and I always measure this over the sink, so if I spill any extra, I can just like shake it off, level it off, get an even teaspoon, plop that in there, and then I kind of just give it a little bit of a stir, that flour and that salt to evenly distribute it. And then next up, we're just gonna add the Crisco in. It's 2/3 cup and 2 tablespoons. This entire recipe I will link down in the description box below, like have it all written out and typed out so you can screenshot it and, you know, have it for yourself. So what's nice is on the packaging itself, it's gonna go ahead and tell you 2/3 cup, so you know at this line, that's 2/3. And then you need 2 more tablespoons. So 2/3, 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. That is what I'm gonna cut. So I'm just cutting that little bad boy. And then this is just gonna go plop right into your flour and salt mixture. Now we're pretty much just gonna cut the fat up into the flour. I use a fork, you know, there are pastry like tools where you can just do this, but I honestly just use my fork and that works fine. But you're just breaking the fat down into the flour, and you want it about pea size. You don't want it completely dissolved because having those little round pockets of fat, when they melt, that's what makes your pastry crispy. So you wanna keep the sizes to about pea size, and I'll do a nice close-up so you can see kind of the end of the texture of what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's all broken down. And these little chunks are the Crisco. This is a really good, you know, texture that I like to start with my crust. All right, so now that we've got this flour mixture at the point where we want it, we're gonna start adding in the ice water. Now, 2 things that I think make the biggest difference in a pie dough is 1, keeping it as cool as possible. So having this super cold water and adding it into the dough is gonna help keep the dough as cold as possible so you're not developing as much gluten, which is gonna help keep your crust super flaky and buttery and just yummy and delicious. And then the other thing is I do this in sections. This is a technique that I learned, and I'll show you how I add just a little bit of water at a time. So I'm not mixing the dough all at once, it's little by little. Okay, so I like to push all of the dough pretty much up against one side, and then I'm gonna just work and mix this at once. So we're gonna do 2 tablespoons of water, and then we're gonna mix it with a fork. So we're never really gonna touch the dough with our hand. And you're slowly gonna just add in as much as you can until you can get a little ball like this. Once you've got a little mixture of dough that just kind of clumps itself together, what you're gonna do is you're gonna push it off to the side, and you're gonna just kind of stab it, and then we're done touching it. And we're just gonna repeat this process until we've gone through the entire part of the dough. Now there's not a lot left, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of water and mix because you don't want to add too much water. So when you get to this point, you just want to add a tiny, tiny bit of water because a little bit goes a long way when it comes to pie dough. So now we've got our dough, and I just kind of push everything off of the sides. And a weird thing that I do too is the leftover ice in here. Like, this is weird, you guys. Like, you probably don't have to do this. But, I mean, my hands are clean, of course, okay? I will like rub the ice in my hands to make my hands super cold and just a tiny bit wet, because I'm gonna push all this dough together into one ball, and then I'm gonna separate it into 2 pieces. It's feeling really good. This is normally what my pie dough feels like, and that's what it looks like. So now my pie dough is all ready. I'm just gonna pop it back in the bowl, and I'm just gonna cut it right in half into 2 sections, because we need a top section for the top of the pie and a bottom section for the bottom of the pie. So here are my 2 little balls. I'm just gonna put some saran wrap over them, and we'll pop them in the fridge to chill them. So while that crust is just chilling in the fridge, getting super cold, we're gonna start on the filling. Now this recipe calls for 5 Granny Smith apples, but I gotta be honest, like these are so freaking small. I'm definitely gonna use at least 6, if not 7 apples. But for the most part, 5 or 6 bigger Granny Smith apples works great. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wash, peel, and then cut these up super thin. Almost dropped it. See that? There we go, that was better. The apples cut up in this bowl, nice and thinly sliced. We're gonna go ahead and add the rest of the mixture into here. It's 3/4 cup of sugar, I think 3 tablespoons of flour, and then some cinnamon. So we're gonna start with adding 3 tablespoons of flour just right into this mixture, and make sure that this bowl is microwave safe, because we are gonna pop this into the microwave just to start getting the apples all juicy, you guys. Then we're gonna add 3/4 cup of sugar, and then just 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So now we're gonna just toss this all together and evenly distribute it. Okay, so something else that's like super different with this recipe is I like to like microwave my apples before. I just feel like it gets them super juicy before, and I feel like it makes them super caramelized in the end. So I go ahead and I'm just gonna pop this in the microwave for about a minute, stir it, and then I might do another minute more. Okay guys, so this is what the apples look like after 2 minutes of in the microwave. As you can see, they're starting to like juice. They've got a nice shine. And let me warn you, do not just eat these out of the bowl, okay? They are so freaking addicting. All right, you guys, so we've got our filling made, our dough made. It is time to roll. We're just gonna roll out our doughs. I just like to sprinkle a tiny bit of flour out on my counter. So I'm just gonna, you know, make sure that that dough does not stick. Let's roll up the sleeves and get to work. I like to get a little bit on one side, and then I like to put a little bit more flour on the other side. I also have my pie pan out. I just like to use this regular glass pan. If you got a fancy schmancy pan, go for it, girl. Do whatever you got, you know? All we're gonna do is roll this out into a circle so that it fits into the pie pan, you guys. This dough looks so good. I'm so excited, actually. It turned out really well. But it always turns out really well, let's get real. It helps if you start from the middle and pull out, just so that you can kind of keep the same circular shape. And if you need to, you can always add a tiny bit more flour. Just kind of swirl it around there. Make sure that nothing is sticking. Man, this looks so good. I'm so stoked. I hope your pie's looking great. I like to put the pie pan like over the dough and be like, okay, yeah, that's gonna fit. Or I need to roll out a little bit more. We're gonna do the transferring process, which I bet a lot of people have different other methods of how they like to do it. So I'll just show you how I like to transfer my dough to the pan. It's pretty basic. I'm gonna start by picking at the edges, just to make sure it's not like sticking anywhere. So I'm gonna just fold it in half, and then I will pick it up and put it right in the pan, and then I will unfold it onto the other side. A lot of times I like to roll up the dough on the rolling pin, but this rolling pin is so heavy, it just doesn't work. But if you have a lighter rolling pin, I like to just kind of roll it on the rolling pin and then like unroll it here. Some people like to fold it in fourths, and I just folded it in halves, and that worked well. And you've got all of this extra pie dough, which I'm gonna show you what to make with it after. But I'm just lightly pressing inside around the ring to make sure that it is sticking and that no edges are pulling in, because you just don't want that. But you do want to make sure that it covers your entire like rim of the pie pan. Okay, so now that we've got the base all done, we're just gonna add the filling right in, you guys. So we're just gonna take our apples and plop it in. Oh yeah, just slop that in. Gotta get all that delicious stuff. Now sometimes there is a lot of extra liquid in your bowl from the apples. Like a lot of times I don't want to add that in. As you saw initially, kind of a bunch just flew in there. I'm gonna just not put the rest of that in there. So we're just gonna make sure we get all the apples out of here, all the delicious flavors, but I am gonna leave a little bit of the liquid left in there. Okay, so now that we have the filling in, there's kind of two different options that you can do. You can just put your top pie dough on, call it good, pop it in the oven, and you're good to go. Or you can add an extra step. When I make this for my grandpa, he wants extra sugar and butter in this part. So I think for today, I'm gonna add in a little bit of extra butter and a little bit of extra love, because for me to you, it's the holiday season. We out here, and I'm pregnant, so like I really don't care about the extra cows, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna add an extra tablespoon of sugar just over the top of the apples. Honestly, I feel like that's so much, so it was only half a tablespoon, because I don't know, that just was looking like a lot, guys. I'm now gonna add just a couple extra knobs of butter into this. Honestly, the pie is fine without it. Like, you do not need to do these extra steps. So this is probably gonna give you guys anxiety if I cut this in my hand, so I'm gonna grab a board. I can just picture the comments of you guys, oh my gosh, Brittany almost cut her hand cutting the butter, because I would seriously just do that in my hand if it was just me. But you know, I'm just here looking out for you guys, trying to decrease your anxiety and your stress. And I'm just gonna seriously plot it around inside of this. Got our pie. I'm gonna sprinkle down more flour on the surface just to make sure that this one doesn't stick. Look at that, guys. There's the end result. I'm just kidding. Darian, do you wanna roll this? Oh my gosh, wait.
Can I be anonymous right now?
Yeah, go.
Hi.
So again, oh, this one rolled out so nice. Oh my gosh. I'm just tapping it on this.
I just gotta let you know.
You were the best, thank you. So I just fold it in half and then refold it. Oh my gosh, we're gonna have so much extra crusties. I don't know why I called them crusties, but I was like, dude, the best part is the topping, right? Like the extra dough that you gotta put.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm so excited. Tell them how famous this pie is.
This pie is so good, her grandma asks her to make it for her.
And my best friend, anytime Katie's over, she's like.
And when grandma wants you to bake, you know it's good.
I know, that's what I say. That's
what
I said. So, what am I saying? Look, pregnancy brain is real. I don't even know what's happening anymore.
Sorry.
You're fine. But I'm just gonna cut the excess dough around the edges. It smells so good. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. Darian is gonna pinch the corners of the pie.
You pinch with the back hand right here. Oh no, oh no. So that's how you get your little pinchy. See what I'm doing? That's the pinchy.
That's the pinchy.
That's how you get the pinchy on the end. And sometimes, all right, look at this. This is essential. You cannot have that. Your pie will leak.
We cannot have gaps. It looks great, you guys. I'm so proud of you, Darian.
It looks pretty good. I'm proud of myself.
Okay, so here is the end result. Darian, you nailed it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I normally have a fork, but actually all of my forks are dirty. Don't tell anybody. So I'm just gonna cut a couple holes in the top. Now some people like to do lattices with their pies. I just like the more crust, the better. You can put a little letter in the top of your pie. You can do whatever you want, but you do need to just kind of stab some little ventilation holes around your pie. So go ahead and just do some stabbing. Now this bad boy is all ready for the oven. I personally like to add butter and a little bit of sugar on the top. It helps get it really crunchy and caramelized on top of the pie, so it's like a real crunchy crust. That is my favorite. So I'm gonna show you the way that I like to do it. I think some people like to do egg wash, or you can just do butter. Really, you can do whatever kind of mixture you want to brush on top of your pie, whatever floats your boat, go ahead and do, feel free, but I'm gonna just show you the Brittany famous way. I'm gonna go ahead and just melt 2 tablespoons of butter, baking the pie. Well, might need to clean the microwave. Okay, so we've got our melted butter. We're gonna add in sugar. I'm just gonna plop in a little bit of cinnamon. If you don't have a little brushy thingy, you honestly can just use like a spoon or whatever. I just like to glaze the top of my pie. Honestly, you guys, I just feel like this makes it so crunchy and yummy. So before I'm putting it in the oven, I am gonna use one of these like pie crust protectors. I just plop it on top. So for the first half of baking, the outside of your crust isn't getting totally torched, because you do bake this for almost an hour. If you don't have one of these, don't even worry about it. Just use foil. I used foil for years until I actually got one of these. And then this pie is going in the oven at 375 for 25 minutes. We're gonna take the ring off and then put it in for another 25 minutes. So as total, it's gonna bake for 50 minutes. All right, so now it's time for the best part. While the pie is in the oven baking, we're gonna play with this extra dough. And let me just say that this is seriously the crowd favorite. I'm just gonna go ahead and roll this out. Artwork, yes. And literally all we're gonna be doing is pouring on all that extra cinnamon sugar joy. Just pour it on over. That is beautiful right there. Basically, it's just the top of your pie crust, but you just get to eat it like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and just put this in the oven with the pie underneath it.
Ow.
You guys, Darren and I have no chill. We have to eat things right when they come out of the oven. I don't know why, it's a thing. Like, even if it's so hot, it burns us. So this literally came out of the oven 10 seconds ago, and we're gonna eat it. Mmm.
Good stuff.
It's so hot, but it's so good. This is the best part of making pie, in my opinion.
Wait, do the Guy Fieri. Thanks.
The
Take
crunch,
me to Flavor Town.
the crunch, the cinnamon, the sugar.
That's a good crispy, brother. That's a good crispy right there.
All right, you guys, it's time for the official taste test. Good as ever. I mean, it just doesn't get better than apple pie. All right, you guys, so that's gonna go ahead and wrap up and conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, and of course, follow me on Instagram for more. If you try this pie, tag me in your Instagram stories, on your Instagram post, write me down in the comments. I wanna know if you try this pie. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask it in the comments down below. I wanna hear from you guys. If you made this pie, please tell me. So with that being said, I just wanted to thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.